Hello and welcome. This is This Time Africa, right here in the studios of Afrique Today. And as you know, this show highlights African women, African men, African businesses, entrepreneurs, and culture. And so the question is, what's on this time? And so the clock turns around to the country and the nation of Kenya. And as we talk about women breaking barriers, I am honored and privileged to have with me in the studio a very good friend of mine, Evelyne. Welcome, Evelyne, to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
I am so happy that you are here because this is a time when we celebrate women internationally, and I would like to talk about women breaking barriers. As you know, we've had first female attorney general in this country of the US, and we've also had first female governors and all of that, and the first female president also in Africa where we come from. And so I was looking at your bio, and what stood out for me is how did you break the barrier, first of all, from being a nursing assistant to getting yourself in an international law firm? I would like your viewers to see what was this thing in you, what inspired you, before we get to the next question.
Oh, thank you so much, Matilda, for having me in your show.
You're welcome.
I am privileged to be part of this Women's Featured Month of March. And of course, proud to represent Kenya.
Yay.
So I came to this country in 1997. And as it is, when I came, everybody told me the best thing to do, you want to become a nursing assistant. And not knowing too much about how to get started, I decided that's what I was going to be. I did not have any education from back home. And so I needed to start from somewhere. So I went to California, I became a nursing assistant until I moved to Maryland in 1999, and I started to go to college. I finished my associate's degree. I used to work at Mauna Kea Potomac, which was, anybody who knows the area knows that's a really rich neighborhood, for lack of a better word. And so I was honored to work, and my department, I worked with patients who had Alzheimer's or who have Alzheimer's. And that taught me so much about patients, about myself, about humility at the end of the day. And then as I continued to do that, I decided, hey, why not go to school? I went and I finished my associate's degree from Strayer University in business. And during that time is, when the economy was really good, that's when you could jump from one job to another. And I did land in a law firm in DC. When I first joined, it was a small law firm, but eventually there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and it became a really big law firm. And in fact, they have offices in Johannesburg, in Kenya, they expanded to Africa. So when I joined, I used to work as a secretary. And so I climbed my way up. I got my bachelor's from University of Maryland, University College. And then from there on, I continued to work. I got promotions. And eventually when I was leaving the law firm, I used to work with management, and I already had my master's degree from University of Maryland too. But then that was a whole different journey. The reason why I decided to pursue is because I realized I came to this country for a reason and for a purpose, and I just did not want to stick in one area. I'm one person who likes to take risks. So coming from Kenya to the United States, that was a risk by itself. I did not want to be complacent. And so I decided, you know what, let me go out and break the barriers. So that's just to show you do not have to be, there's nothing wrong with any job that you take. But if you feel like you want to take the next step, you want to take the next stride, there's nothing stopping you other than yourself. So that's what I realized coming on, that it's only me who can stop myself from getting to the next level.
And nothing stopped you.
Yes.
Matter of fact, what you've just said in this first opening shows that you break the barrier, not just from coming from Kenya to here, but also taking on a trend that you never did before, the nursing, which is a great career. And I want to doff my hat to all of you nursing assistants and nurses who are watching. You're doing a great job. But then you felt like there was something inside of you pulling you that you could do more. And you went on to get your MBA and all of that. Tell us about that paradigm shift moment. Just tell us a little bit, like, this is the moment that happened to you that I needed a shift, and you believed in yourself, just like you just said, that is something that you could do.
You know, shifts sometimes happen in very different aspects of people's lives. I think my shift happened after I became a mother, because I realized, okay, so now I have a child who will look up to me. What does he want to remember about mom? Will there be a legacy? And then at that point, I really didn't understand much about legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
And I would keep on reading books, but then I really didn't understand the impact. We see people like Bill Gates, we see Oprah, who I highly admire. Hopefully one day I will get to meet Oprah.
One day, Oprah will get to meet you. Yes. African women standing side by side with you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So those are the people that I looked forward, I look up to. But then also looking at the firm that I worked, there were only 2 or 3 African women who are attorneys. And the firm that I worked in Washington, D.C. was significantly huge. And those are people that I can relate to. They became my friends because I truly did admire them. And so for me was looking at these women and wondering what took them to that level. If they can, I can too. Because for me, nothing stopped me from doing or becoming who I wanted to become. And sometimes I know other aspects of, maybe your papers are not in order. And so sometimes people fear the aspect of shifting from wherever they are to go to the next level. Sometimes we should not let that stop us.
Yes.
But so my paradigm shift, I think at that particular moment, was having my son. Realizing I want to do much better. I want to be there for my son. And at that moment, I really didn't understand much, but that was my biggest shift, being a mother.
And so that thing compelling you that I have to leave a legacy. I must do something. I must be that beacon of light, because each one of us represents a time and a generation that will continue to hold the torch.
Right.
And as women who are breaking barriers, I think it's very important that our children should see that we are doing something that they can look up to us for, and we can leave that legacy. But as I was reading also in your bio, and something interesting, just came out at me when you said that there was a firm or there was a company that was looking for somebody who could speak Swahili. And I'm excited to hear about that story, because it's so important that the pride of who you are, the pride of our culture, the pride of the Africanness that is in us could even open a way for you. Because there was a time when people would shy away from saying that I'm an African, but we are now the contemporary diasporas who are proud of our hairs being braided. We are proud of who we are. So tell us a little bit about that time when, because of your language, the Swahili, doors were open for you.
Wow. This is what I can say about that, because that's a journey even I sometimes say I cannot believe I went through it. One day riding the metro, going to work, and then I pick a newspaper that I hardly read. So I picked it up, and as I'm turning the pages, I see an open house. They're looking for naturalized citizens who speak Swahili, and there were other languages too. I was like, okay, wow. And a deadline had been extended. So the deadline had been extended. So I said, okay, fine, let me check this out. It was the last day. And it's funny enough because the open house that they had was at the Martin Luther King Library, and that's on the 9th Street side. My office had 2 entrances, on the 8th Street and on the 9th Street side. So during my lunch break, because that's when they had the open house, I decided to take a break. And then I went to this open house. And that's where I found out more information. I mean, what are the chances that the deadline had been extended, that I pick up a newspaper that I hardly pick.
Yeah,
And
the Express, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
How did you know that?
I know, because I found jobs there too.
And also that it was on the 9th Street side, the same street as my office. So I decided to take a chance and went and I learned more about it. And it's a program through the National Security Education Program, and it's done at Georgetown once a year. English Heritage of Language Speakers. That's the name of the program, and the classes were at Georgetown. So what you had to do is you had to apply, you had to go through testing, you had to be tested in your native language as well as in English, and we did that. I think it was like July, and then we went for testing, and by December I was accepted to join Georgetown, to take this program at Georgetown. So I can proudly say that I have a Georgetown diploma. Though it was for a professional.
I'm sure they will give it to you. I'm sure
They
will give it to you.
They did. But that was an experience in itself. And I think that's where my whole perception of what you can become in America opened up for me, because yes, I was in a law firm for 10 years. I was in a CNA. I worked 2 jobs. I went to college. I paid for my education other than my master's degree. And then this all of a sudden opens up. And that was such an amazing experience, because I had to do research in Swahili, and I realized that the government does need people with my language and my culture to help them, navigate areas where they cannot, because you can send anybody to learn Swahili. However, you have to look at the idea whereby they are native speakers here, as well as they have the language and they have the culture. So for me, Swahili, that's the one area where Swahili was very beneficial.
Yay, I am so proud. I am so happy for that, because knowing your culture helps you to know your value.
Yes.
And it also says of America that this is a great nation that embraces people. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that today I can call myself a citizen, just because America opened its arms to all of us to be what we are today. And so I think that is worth notifying. And just talking about the Swahili, it's not just the Swahili. It's that everybody who attempts to do something, if you make an effort, you can get it. And this is the place that you can achieve it. But I want to stop and ask you, I know that it wasn't like a smooth sailing journey. I know that you just did not go and speak the Swahili and you got a job. What were like some of the stumbling blocks, and how did you manage to overcome it? What was the one thing that was probably holding you back? Can I not? What were those stumbling blocks, and how did you overcome them? The doubt.
I think for me was when, first of all, coming here, you're new. Sometimes your accent threw you off a little bit. Which I've come to love my accent very much. I cannot change it for anybody. But also the fact that, you wanted to pursue jobs and you were told you can't because you probably didn't have a degree. And then you kind of lose confidence in yourself. And I think also I did not do a lot of networking when I was at work. All I did was I left work, I went home. I left work, I went home, or I went to see my friends. I never networked after work to see how else to progress my career. So that's why I think for me, I stuck in one career for 10 years. And then it finally hit me on the face. And I asked, why did I have to do this? Because I did not network a lot. I did not network.
And then it occurred to you that it is possible that you can break barriers in every area of your life. And so we're going to hold our thoughts right there, because when we come back with Evelyne, we're going to talk about what are the differences, how are we dealing with issues differently from our counterparts who are in the Western world. So this is where we take a break, and we'll be right back again. This is This Time Africa right here on Afrique Today. And please check us out on the website, on YouTube. We'll be right back. We're talking about women breaking barriers. Hello and welcome back. As usual, this is This Time Africa right here in the studios of Afrique Today. And we bring you back to the place where we're talking about women breaking barriers. And once more with me in the studio is Evelyne right there from the country and the nation of Kenya. How do I say hello in Swahili again?
Jambo.
Jambo, Evelyne, and Jambo to the listeners from Kenya and of course Congo and the areas where Swahili is spoken. But we are talking about women breaking barriers, and I wanted to ask a question. You said when you were in the international law firm, there were women, and you were saying to yourself, am I able to do what they're doing? But they became that part of your life that strengthened you. Do you think that as African women, we are dealing with things differently than our counterparts, our Western counterparts?
Yes, we are certainly dealing with things differently because, for one, you can imagine coming here and you have to start from scratch. So you're basically going, either you had a degree from back home and then it's not transferable here, so you have to go back to school, or even people who come here who are doctors, they have to go back to school. So we are meeting women who want to, so we are taking a step back, for one. And then sometimes to, the education aspect of it. We didn't go to school here. That could be an advantage or disadvantage because you already meet people who are advanced, who are advanced in their careers, who are ready to take it. So it's like we have to go sometimes one step back to learn a culture that we're not familiar with. It takes us sometimes 2 to 3 years, just depending on who brought you into the States. Because when I came in 1997, the only profession that people knew and people were talking about was nursing. But now, yes, we have IT, we have real estate, we have people doing businesses, we have, business owners who have nursing homes. There are a lot of people where we can, already get help.
Yes.
From now, moving forward. So I don't think back then we did not have that as much as we have right now.
So the world has evolved.
It has definitely evolved.
The world has evolved, and thanks to those women who have tried to break the barriers ahead of us,
right,
and those women who remain our catalysts, our mentors. Would you say that you have any mentor, somebody that is your catalyst? I know you said we all need catalysts in life. Somebody who you say, this is the one that pushed me. Because I ask this question because even the job I have now, I got it through a woman. I became a journalist because of a woman. I worked in the UNHCR in Conakry, Guinea because of a woman. So most of my life, women can make and break. I want to say this. Yeah, we can. But most of my life, really, my successes have been through women. Would you say you have that mentor in your life? So
I want to say my mentor is actually a male.
That's good.
And the catalyst that I had, because my catalyst, when I look at the industry that I eventually came into in finance, my catalyst happened to be somebody that, her name is Josephine. I'm one person, if I know what you do or what you're good at, I can refer people to you because I already know you. And sometimes it's just that one click.
Yeah.
You just need someone to help you break the barrier, as we say. So mine was Josephine. I wanted to get into the financial industry and I did not know how to get in. And I had just referred her to go sell she sells really beautiful African, she makes actually really beautiful African earrings. So I found a place that was calling for vendors. And so I reached out to her to ask whether she wanted to sell her stuff. So she said, yeah. That was on a Saturday, she went. And then on Tuesday, I called her. I'm like, hey, I'm looking to get into the financial industry. Do you know anybody who worked there? She said, yeah, actually, the place where you sent me, I met someone. Oh. Here's their number. So for me, she is truly my catalyst because that's the only way. If I wouldn't have sent her there, she would not have found this person for me. And if she wouldn't, so she was open. She was already open-minded to try something. So she was, I call her my angel. She was my angel who got me to where I wanted to go to. Yes, because sometimes we all need the one person who you can meet with to talk to you about, yeah, you can do all the research you want, but please sit down with someone to break it down for you. It's much, much, much easier. So Josephine was my catalyst. But in the financial industry, yes, I do have a male mentor who continues to mentor me, and he can, whether personally or using his videos. And I'm also reading books, because I used to think mentors are just people who you need to sit down with.
No,
yeah, you can read, and I love YouTube. This by itself will just, maybe this will help somebody else,
Exactly.
Yeah, and YouTube is there for us for free, so that's one aspect of it.
That's right, and that's what I flip on every day. So I know all the big names. I know what I can study and understudy other people who have gone ahead of us. Right. And so you've heard her. You've been talking about you coming from Kenya, and then the CNA, and then the law firm. And just now she dropped it. She said financial industry. It's amazing. You are a woman that has broken the barrier, and I really applaud you. For you to start from that humble beginning, and today you can talk about financial industry. Because I've always said that if we want to empower women, I think one way is to start with finances, is to be economically empowered. Tell us about, how did you come to the financial industry, and what it is that you need to let us know?
Wow, you're just talking about all those industries. I'm like, okay, how old am I again?
I know. I was about to ask you too.
Okay, one more industry that I forgot. Before I came to America, I worked for Ethiopian Airlines. So that's an industry too.
Now I can see that. Yes.
Yeah. So as I said, I wanted to get into getting into the financial industry was it a mistake? Because I wanted to get into the healthcare industry. And I wanted to do that because the 2:00 phone calls that you receive in the middle of the night, somebody needing money.
Yes.
And so you have to send $300 before they're seen as a consulting fee.
Yes.
I don't know about your country, but in Kenya, that's really expensive. And so you have to cough that money. So I was trying to find a gap. How do I leverage this with that? How do I leverage diaspora with back home? And that did not, I tried so many ways, but it did not work for me. There was always I wasn't getting the information I needed. So I said, you know what? I'm in America. I am here, I already have a child. Why don't I just focus on America? And then I started to look at the financial industry. And that's where it picked up my interest. In 2008, when the market crashed, there were a lot of people who lost money. But there were ways that you could not have lost the money if you knew the right strategies. And that piqued my interest because I have an MBA, and that was not taught in MBA school. So I decided to, call around and find out, and someone met with me. I went and learned more about, the industry. And that was in 2012. 2012. I learned about the industry, and I became comfortable with time. But it just seems to be like sometimes when a path is open for you, you might never know where you get into or what's in store with you. I'm a firm believer. I believe in God, and sometimes nothing comes easy. Sometimes you have to go through difficulty in order for you to be successful. Sometimes, not everybody, but as a person who's breaking barriers, you have to show that it was possible. You have to show that you went through this. And now, because of that, this is what became. Because as we speak, the industry that I'm in, it's $1 trillion industry. And now my family is actually the campaign face behind, the product that we have. And that's truly amazing. Who knew this girl who came from Kenya now is a campaign face all over America on telling people that, you need to secure yourself, not just in all times, because we're in a country whereby people do get sick. However, people do recover, because this country, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of technology to keep us alive. So we might be alive for another, until 120.
I would take 120 definitely.
I don't
would
know about
definitely-
120 for me, but it's possible.
Yes.
But just securing yourself through your journey is the most important thing to do. So for me, it was just that shift too. Again, when I had my second baby, it's very different when you have a boy and a girl. The girl will kind of push you. My daughter definitely pushes me to be a best mommy that I can. My son does too. But the daughter, oh my gosh, because I think you're looking at yourself
Oh, yes.
with
yes.
a daughter.
Yes. So how would people reach you? Because I wanted to ask you, so do you have plans? Are you training people? How will people reach you who want to know how to get their finances together, to get their life together and be on a better footing? Do you have a website, an email, somewhere where they can reach you?
Yes, certainly. I do have a website. My website is www.evelyn, Evelyn, opany.com. So EvelynOpany.com, just as my name is. My email is eopany@gmail.com. That's eopany@gmail.com. And yes, I do train people. Again, we have to do things differently in this country. We are a first generation American. No, are we first generation Americans? Do we consider ourselves first generation?
I am not,
or our
really,
kids?
actually.
Our kids are.
Yeah.
Our kids are.
Yeah.
So we are the ones. So we have to work really hard for our kids. We have to learn to do
I
things
think they're ahead
different.
of us already because
Yes,
some of these
they
kids,
are. With
what they know
technology,
now,
yes.
it's really, they are really ahead of us. I wanted to hinge on something. I know we're running out of time, but you spoke about focusing on America. Because one of the mistakes that we do as Africans, yes, we come from Africa, but we are so much in an imbalance because we are focusing on Africa. But when you are here, it's good to develop yourself here. Because the more stronger you are, the more foundation you lay for yourself here, then you can empower somebody else. But people spend their whole time just being here and being over there really
Yes.
with everything. I am totally in America right now. I love my Africa, but once I'm empowered, I'm coming back. What has brought you the most satisfaction? What would you say has brought you the most satisfaction so far? I know you've had this journey, tremendous but lovely journey, but what would you say has brought you the most satisfaction?
Overcoming difficulty. Overcoming when you think it's not possible, it is possible.
Yes.
Being a mother, I cannot discount that. Being a mother in this country where we do not have help, that will give you satisfaction by force.
You said you believe in God, and there's a song that says that my trials only come to make me strong.
Exactly.
And that song has been in my head today. In the office, I've just been chanting, my trials come to make me strong. So your trials come to make you strong.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, let's close with this, and I always do that. What will be a time in your life when you say, aha, Evelyne Opany, you've got it? What will be that time? What will be that aha moment?
Wow.
I always hear the same ha. What will be that moment, Evelyne, when you will say, yes, I, Evelyne Opany?
We come from countries whereby, and even here, we hear more about girl power. Girl power. And I know we were raised all girls. So I'm from a family that's girls. And my dad always made sure that we got the best education. And there was always girl power. But then what I saw is lacking as of now is what's happening to our boys, what's happening to our male. I know I might not be a strong mentor to a male or to a boy, even though I have a son. However, is to make it in America, is to make money here in America, is to support organizations that are supporting men or are supporting boys. Yes, I'll still support the girls. however, is to support, also give back and contribute, make a contribution, financial contribution to organizations that,
like ours, Diaspora International Platform,
Yeah.
or like to the African Women Council, which is founded by Marie-Rose Sirikari, who has been so gracious for offering her place and a conference to us. So that's the thing that gives us satisfaction, when we give back.
when we give back.
When we give back, when we are able to raise up other people and empower other people. That's where we give back, and that's where, of course, we draw the curtain on this show. It is the month of March, and we are saying that women breaking barriers, right here with This Time Africa in the studios of Afrique Today. And Afrique Today, please go to YouTube, download our app, and also watch us on Facebook and every place that you can. Just watch us there and you will find us. Once again, you have been a good viewer. Thank you. That's how we do it on This Time Africa. See you next time. This is your host, CN Matilda Banga.